Good morning, dear friend. The sun is just beginning to stretch across the sky, its light spilling softly over the world like a whisper from heaven. There is something sacred about this hour, a stillness that hangs in the air before the noise of the day begins. The early light does not rush. It gently touches everything in its path, reminding us that beginnings can be quiet and powerful at the same time. In this moment, before the world demands too much from you, there is room to breathe, to feel, to listen. Maybe you woke up today carrying more than you can explain. Perhaps no one knows that you cried yourself to sleep. Or maybe you did not cry, but you could not rest either. You stared at the ceiling, listening to your thoughts run wild. A diagnosis, a betrayal, an unanswered question, or just a deep ache in your soul that no one else seems to notice. You smiled yesterday when people asked if you were okay. But inside, you were barely holding it together. You are tired not just in your body, but in your bones, in your breath, in the place where hope is supposed to live. I know someone who once stood in that same space. A strong woman who seemed to have it all figured out, but behind her strength was a storm. She had lost her job unexpectedly. Her savings were slipping through her fingers. Her children needed answers she did not have. Every morning, she put on her brave face and walked into the world as if nothing was wrong. But at night, she collapsed into tears, begging for a way out, begging for peace. One morning, she sat in her car, too weary to drive, too proud to ask for help, and in that quiet moment, she whispered a prayer not loud, not polished, but honest. That single breath became the doorway to her healing, not because her circumstances changed immediately, but because something inside her shifted. The weight she carried alone for so long was finally shared with someone greater. Maybe you are there too. Maybe you have been strong for so long that your soul forgot how to lean. Maybe you have prayed before and felt nothing. Or maybe you have never prayed at all. But something inside you knows that you can keep carrying this on your own. That is why you are here, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by divine appointment. This space is sacred, not because the words are perfect, but because your heart is present, because the one who hears does not measure the beauty of your language, but the honesty of your cry. Faith does not mean you never doubt. It means you bring your doubts with you and still choose to trust. Prayer is not a performance. It is a conversation, a surrender, a returning, a release. In these next moments, you are invited to slow down, breathe deeply, and enter into something more. Not religion, not ritual, but relationship, a conversation between your soul and the God who created it. You do not need to fix yourself first. You do not need to clean up your emotions. You do not need to find the perfect words. You only need to be willing. This is your moment to come home to peace. So close your eyes if you can, take a deep breath, and let your soul lean in. You are not alone here. There is healing waiting. There is rest waiting. There is love already present. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you at the beginning of this day, carrying a weight that feels heavier than my strength. I do not come with polished words or confident faith. I come as I am, tired in my thoughts, weary in my heart, and unsure how to carry what I have been holding for so long. This morning, the silence around me feels loud, and my mind is already full before the day has even begun. There are worries waiting for me, responsibilities pressing on me, and memories that refuse to stay buried. I feel the tension in my chest, the tightness in my breath, the quiet fear that follows me from one day to the next. Father, I admit that I have been trying to survive on my own strength. I have told myself to be strong, to keep moving, to hold everything together, even when my soul was breaking beneath the surface. I wake up with thoughts I did not invite and burdens I do not know how to release. Some of them are fears about what lies ahead. Some are regrets from what has already passed. Some are disappointments I never spoke out loud. They sit with me in the early hours, reminding me of everything I cannot control. I am exhausted from carrying questions without answers. I am tired of pretending that I am fine when I am not. I confess that I have allowed stress to become my companion and anxiety to shape my thoughts. I have replayed conversations, imagined worst-case outcomes, and measured my worth by what I can manage. I have held on to pain longer than I should have, because I did not know where else to place it. This morning, I acknowledge that this weight is too much for me. Father, I need you, not as an idea or a distant hope, but as my present help right now. I need you in this moment when my heart feels fragile and my mind feels crowded. I bring you the heaviness I woke up with, the fear that settled in before the sun rose, and the pressure I feel to face another day without rest. I do not want to keep carrying what was never meant for my hands. I do not want to start this day already defeated on the inside. I lay before you the unspoken burdens, the ones I hide behind smiles and silence. I bring you the weight of responsibility, the fear of failure, the pain of loss, and the ache of unmet expectations. I bring you the exhaustion that sleep did not fix, and the sadness I cannot fully explain. I place it all before you, not because I am strong, but because I am finally honest. Father, meet me here. Meet me in this vulnerable place, where I stop pretending and start surrendering. I do not ask for answers yet. I do not ask for solutions right now. I ask for your presence to hold me steady as this day begins. Teach my heart that I do not have to carry everything alone. Teach my soul that it is safe to release what feels unbearable. As this morning unfolds, I choose to begin not with control, but with trust. I choose to open my hands instead of clenching them. I choose to bring my broken thoughts and tired emotions into your care. I am here, Lord, at the start of this day, acknowledging my weakness and reaching for your strength. Lord, I am still here. The morning has begun, but something in me is still waking up. I spoke to you before with trembling honesty, offering the weight I could no longer carry. But even after surrendering what I could name, something deeper stirs, something heavier that has no language yet. There is a pressure in my chest, a tightness in my throat, a trembling just beneath the surface of my skin. I do not fully understand it. I only know it wants to break free. God, you see into the quiet places, the hidden places, the rooms inside me I keep locked because they hold too much pain, too many memories, too much vulnerability. And yet, here I am, sitting in this fragile space where silence meets emotion, and I feel the first cracks forming. The tears I tried to hold back are pushing forward. I am not trying to stop them anymore. I do not have the energy to pretend. I am letting go of the mask, the performance, the illusion that I am always okay. I remember times when I used to cry easily. It felt like release. But lately, the pain has been buried so deep that I feared what might surface if I let myself feel again. Now, the tears are coming not just from one wound, but from many. From things I never got to grieve properly. From words I never said. From losses I never processed. From fears that lingered far too long. It is not just one sorrow. It is a lifetime of quiet aching, rising now like a tide I can no longer hold back. Lord, I do not have eloquent prayers today. I do not have tidy phrases or perfect theology. All I have is this cry, this raw, unfiltered expression that comes from someplace deeper than thought. I know you understand even this. You do not ask me to explain. You do not require me to translate pain into proper words. You only ask me to come. So I come like this, torn, tender, and trembling. I cry because I am tired of being strong. I cry because I feel alone in places I never thought I would be. I cry because the life I imagined does not look like the one I am living. I cry because some days feel like survival, not joy. I cry because I miss people who are no longer here. I cry for the child in me that never fully healed. I cry because some wounds still whisper at night when everything else goes quiet. And in these tears, I offer you my truth, not my resume, not my reputation, just my truth. Father, I believe that you collect tears, that none of them are wasted, that you see each one as a testimony of endurance, a symbol of trust. These tears, though silent, are my offering. They say what my words cannot. They carry what my strength will not. They are not weakness. They are evidence that I am still alive, still reaching, still hoping. I do not need you to fix everything right now. I only need you to be near, to hold this moment with me, to sit in the silence and remind me that I am not forgotten in my sorrow, that you are the God who kneels beside broken hearts and does not rush the healing. You are the God who stays through the weeping and calls it holy ground. Let these tears water something within me. Let them soften the parts of my heart that have grown hard. Let them cleanse the spaces I have neglected. Let them be the beginning of something new, something real, something free. I do not want to be numb anymore. I want to feel again, even if it hurts, because pain that is felt can be healed. Wounds that are exposed can be touched, and memories that are brought into your light can be redeemed. I open the door now, the one I kept closed for so long. I invite you into the rooms I said you could not enter, the memories I kept hidden, the emotions I buried, the grief I pushed aside. I will not pretend they do not exist. I will not minimize what broke me. I will not shame myself for how deeply I feel. I will let you see it all, because I know you will not turn away. You will not scold me for being undone. You will not demand that I recover on a schedule. You are not impatient with my pain. You are the one who whispers comfort while I cry, the one who sits with me in the ashes, the one who sees beyond the tears to the healing that is coming. And though I cannot yet see it, I believe you are already at work in the places I am just now beginning to reveal. So I cry, not just from sorrow, but from release. I cry because I trust you with what I can no longer hide. I trust you to hold me steady as this flood comes. I trust that you are not overwhelmed by what overwhelms me. I trust that you will not leave me here. These tears, Lord, are not the end. They are the first step forward. And I will not run from them. I will let them fall. I will let them speak. I will let them draw me closer to the peace I have been searching for all along. Father, the tears have fallen and the silence has spoken, but now I feel you calling me deeper, not just to feel, but to name, not just to weep, but to look gently at what lies beneath those tears. There are burdens I have carried so long that they have begun to feel like parts of me. I barely notice the weight anymore. It follows me from room to room, day to day, like a shadow I stopped trying to shake. But this morning, in this quiet space with you, I am ready to face them, one by one. God, help me see clearly. Shine your light into the places where pain has blurred my vision. I do not want to guess at what is draining my soul. I want to name it. I want to lift it from the silence and bring it into your presence, because what remains unnamed often remains unhealed. So I open my hands and begin this honest work, trusting that you will be gentle with me as I speak what has long been hidden. I name fear first, the fear that comes in so many forms: fear of losing what I love, fear of not being enough, fear of the unknown, fear that wakes me up in the middle of the night and whispers, "What if?" over and over, fear that keeps me small when you are calling me forward. I bring that fear to you. I speak it out loud so it no longer rules me in silence. I name disappointment, the moments when things did not turn out the way I hoped, the prayers that seemed to go unanswered, the doors that closed before I was ready. I name the H of what could have been and the quiet sadness that settled in its place. I release the pressure to pretend I have moved on when a part of me still lingers at that closed chapter. I bring my unmet expectations and set them down before you. I name shame, the memories that still sting, the choices I wish I could erase, the moments when I fell short not just of others' expectations, but my own. I name the voice that tells me I am not worthy, the voice I know is not yours, but one I have believed for too long. I hold it up to the light and ask you to replace it with truth. I name the pressure, the invisible weight to hold everything together, the sense that I must always be okay for the sake of others, the belief that rest is earned only after exhaustion. I name the lie that productivity is identity, that business equals value. I lay down the need to prove myself and simply ask to be held. I name grief, the loss I did not know how to grieve properly, the people I miss, the moments that slipped away without goodbye. I name the birthdays, the anniversaries, the empty seats at the table. I bring the memories that feel like both a gift and a wound. I bring the love that still lingers, and the pain that comes with it. I name anxiety, the constant scanning of the future, the inability to stay present, the way my mind spins stories that have not happened yet, and my body believes they are already real. I bring you the racing heart, the tight chest, the endless loop of what-ifs. I bring you my tendency to brace for impact. Even when nothing is falling, I name comparison, the quiet envy that creeps in when I look at others' lives and feel behind, the bitterness I do not want to feel, the way I sometimes measure my worth by someone else's highlight reel. I bring the scrolling, the discontent, the subtle resentment. I bring my longing to feel enough just as I am. Lord, I do not name these things to dwell in them. I name them to free them. I name them because I am tired of being weighed down by what I cannot heal on my own. I name them because I believe you care not just about the big storms, but about every small stone I carry. You are not too holy to handle my mess. You are not too distant to be concerned with the details. You are the God who sees and stays. So I continue. I name the doubts, the confusion, the anger I did not admit I was carrying. I name the places where I struggle to trust you, even when I know I should. I name the fatigue in my spirit, the hollowness in my laughter, the hunger in my soul for something more than survival. I bring all of it, all the emotions I judged, all the thoughts I tried to bury. I pour them out here without filter, without fear. I know you are not surprised by anything I have said. You knew these weights were there even before I could find the courage to speak them. But in naming them, I feel something shifting, like a hand unclenching, like a breath returning, like a child being honest for the first time and realizing their father will not walk away. So take these burdens now, one by one. Take what I have named and gently carry what I cannot. Replace the fear with peace, the shame with grace, the pressure with permission to rest, the grief with comfort, the anxiety with your presence, the doubt with reassurance, the comparison with contentment. I do not want to carry them back into the day with me. I want to leave them here, with you. I will not pretend these burdens never existed. I will not deny their impact, but I will not them define my days any longer. I choose to name them so that they lose their secret power. I choose to speak them so that healing can begin. I choose to trust that in the naming, you are already redeeming. And for the first time in a long time, I feel a little lighter, not because everything has changed, but because I no longer carry it alone. God, now that I have named what I have carried, I can feel the weight of it in new ways. The burdens once buried have come to the surface, and while it hurts to look at them, there is also a strange relief in finally seeing them for what they are. I no longer want to hold these things tightly. I no longer want to pretend that my grip brings me safety. What I have named, I am now ready to lay down. I need more than awareness. I need release. I need to let go in a way that lasts. Father, Help me do what my soul longs for, but my flesh resists. Help me place these weights at your feet, not only with words, but with trust. This is not a gesture or a symbol. It is a transfer. It is me saying, I no longer want to carry what I was never designed to hold. These fears, these regrets, these disappointments, these unmet expectations, they do not belong on my shoulders. I open my hands, trembling as they are, and I let them go, one by one. I begin to place them down before you. Not rushed, not half-hearted, I bring them slowly and deliberately, like precious but painful pieces of my story. The fear that has kept me braced for disaster, I lay it down. I will not live in the shadow of imagined catastrophes. I place my need for certainty and control in your hands. I will not serve fear as my master. The disappointment that lingers like a fog, dulling my joy, I lay it down. I will not define my present or future by past letdowns. You are not limited by what has been lost. I give you my longing for closure, my ache for something to make sense of the detours. Chooses to believe you still have good for me. The shame that has whispered lies about my identity, I lay it down. I release the moments I replay in my head, the words I wish I had never said, the mistakes I wish I had never made. I place them at the altar of your mercy and walk away from them. They are not who I am. They are not who you say I am. The pressure to prove myself, to achieve more, to please everyone, I lay it down. I am not my performance. I am not my productivity. I am not the opinions of others. I release the weight of expectations and the silent fear of failure. I want peace more than perfection. The grief that has settled in like a quiet companion, lay it down. I do not deny the love or the loss, but I give you the sorrow that keeps pulling me into the past. I let you carry the ache that I cannot heal on my own. You know how to hold grief without letting it consume. I trust you with what I still do not understand. The anxiety that rises when the future feels uncertain, I lay it down. I give you the plans I hold too tightly, the timelines I try to control, the pressure to figure out what comes next. I will not live in anticipation of what might go wrong. I choose to believe that you are already in my tomorrow. And the comparison that makes me question my worth, I lay it down. I release the measuring stick, the envy, the feeling of being behind. I choose gratitude over striving, contentment over competition. I believe that my story does not need to look like anyone else's to be valuable. Lord, I place all these things before you now. I do not hand them to you with conditions. I do not expect immediate resolution. I only ask for peace. The kind of peace that comes not from having everything solved, but from knowing I no longer walk alone. The kind of peace that reminds me your shoulders are wide enough, strong enough, kind enough to carry what I cannot. I can feel the resistance in me as I do this. A part of me wants to take it all back, to keep worrying, keep planning, keep grasping for control. But I choose instead to sit still and trust that something sacred is happening in this surrender. I believe that you are not asking me to abandon responsibility, but to release the weight of what is beyond my power. So I breathe deeper now, not because my circumstances have changed, but because something inside me has. There is a shift I cannot fully explain. A loosening. A lightness. A beginning. I do not know what today will hold, but I know what I have let go of. I know that my hands are open and my heart is soft, and that is enough for this moment. Teach me, Lord, to live from this place of release, not just in prayer, but in every part of my day. When anxiety tries to creep back in, remind me that I have already laid it down. When fear whispers again, remind me that I am no longer listening to its voice. When sorrow resurfaces, remind me that you are still holding what I entrusted to you. This is not a one-time letting go. It is a rhythm, a practice, a way of living. So I begin here, with this breath, with these hands, with this heart, surrendering again and again until peace becomes more familiar than panic, until trust becomes more natural than tension, until rest becomes more powerful than effort. I do not need to carry what you have already promised to take. I do not need to chase what you have already prepared. I only need to keep laying it down. This is the holy exchange. My weakness for your strength, my burden for your rest, my striving for your grace. And even though I do not see the outcome yet, I believe you are working. I believe you are faithful. I believe you are here. And because of that, I can let go. Father, now that my hands are open and the weight has been released, there is a space inside me I am not used to feeling. It is unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, like a quiet room after a long season of noise. I expected relief to rush in all at once, but instead there is stillness, a pause, a gentle slowing that asks me not to move too quickly. I sense you inviting me to remain here for a moment, not to ask, not to explain, not to fix, but simply to be. Lord, I confess that stillness has often made me uneasy. I am used to filling every moment with thought, sound, or effort. When things go quiet, my mind usually races to replace the silence with worry or planning. But right now, after laying everything down, I feel you calling me to rest in this space without rushing past it. I do not want to escape this pause. I want to learn how to stay. So I slow my breathing. I notice the rise and fall of my chest. I feel the air enter my lungs and leave again. Each breath feels like a gift, steady and patient. Nothing is demanded of me in this moment. I am not being evaluated. I am not being measured. I am simply here, and you are here with me. That alone feels sacred. God, I sit in this quiet and realize how much of my life has been lived in reaction, reacting to pressure, reacting to expectations, reacting to fear. Even my prayers have sometimes felt rushed, filled with urgency, driven by the need for answers. But now, I sense that you are not calling me to react. You are calling me to rest, to let my soul catch up with my body, to allow peace to settle not as a solution, but as a presence. I feel the temptation to fill this space with words, to explain myself again, to repeat what I have already said, but I resist that urge. I trust that you have heard me. I trust that silence does not mean absence. In this stillness, I am not abandoned. I am being held. I do not need to perform to keep your attention. I do not need to strive to earn your nearness. You are already here. As I remain in this quiet, I notice subtle things shifting inside me. My shoulders loosen, my jaw relaxes, my thoughts slow their frantic pace. The tight grip I usually hold on my concerns begins to soften. This rest is doing something I cannot force. It is gently restoring what stress has worn thin. It is reminding my body and spirit that safety is possible. Lord, teach me that stillness is not laziness. It is trust. It is me believing that you are working even when I am not doing anything. It is me stepping out of the illusion that everything depends on my effort. In this pause, I remember that you are God and I am not. And instead of fear, that truth brings relief. I notice how different this feels from distraction. Distraction numbs, but this quiet heals. Distraction pulls me away from myself, but this stillness brings me back. I am not escaping my life right now. I am entering it more deeply, anchored by your presence. This pause is not empty. It is full of you. Father, let this moment recalibrate my heart. Let it teach me a new rhythm, a way of living that does not revolve around urgency and pressure, a way of moving through the day that includes pauses like this, where I return to center, where I remember who I belong to, where I breathe before I respond. I am aware that my mind may try to wander. Old worries may try to creep back in. But when they do, I gently set them aside, not with force, but with intention. I remind myself that I have already placed those things in your care. I do not need to pick them up again right now. This space is for rest, not review. There is a softness growing inside me, a tenderness that feels both vulnerable and safe. I realize that I do not have to be guarded in your presence. I do not have to anticipate harm. I can let my defenses down without fear. This stillness is not exposing me to danger. It is sheltering me. Lord, I stay here a little longer. I do not rush ahead to what comes next. I allow this calm to deepen. I let it settle into my thoughts, my emotions, my spirit. I want this peace to reach the places words cannot. I want it to soak into the cracks left by exhaustion and worry. I want it to become familiar. As I remain in this quiet, I sense that something is being prepared within me. Not instructions, not answers, but readiness, a gentle strengthening that comes from rest. Not effort. I am being steadied from the inside out. I am learning that peace does not always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper, a breath, a pause between heartbeats. So I stay. I breathe. I listen without strain. I allow this sacred stillness to do its work. I trust that when it is time to move again, you will guide me. For now, this moment is enough. This rest is enough. This quiet with you is enough. Father, in the stillness where I have chosen to remain, I begin to notice what I have missed for far too long. Your voice, not in the way I once expected, loud and unmistakable, but quiet, familiar, and steady. It does not interrupt. It does not demand. It waits, gentle and patient, for space to speak. And now that my soul has slowed, now that my hands are no longer full of burdens and my mind is no longer crowded with fear, I can hear you again, not outside of me, but within, not as thunder, but as a whisper I remember from childhood, softer than breath, but stronger than doubt. Lord, it is not that you ever stopped speaking. It is that the noise inside me became so loud. I could not tell the difference between your truth and my own thoughts. I mistook silence for absence. I assumed you had gone quiet because I was unworthy, or because you were far. But now I see it differently. The silence was not punishment. It was invitation, a gentle drawing near, waiting for my heart to make room again. And now, in this quiet, I remember what your voice feels like, not always words. Sometimes it is a sense, a nudge, a peace that does not make sense, a clarity that does not come from logic, a calm that settles in the middle of questions, still unanswered. I know that voice. It is the same one that comforted me when I was a child crying in bed, the same one that steadied me when I stood at a crossroads afraid to choose, the same voice that called my name when I felt lost in a crowd, not with volume, but with love. I am listening now, Lord, not just with my ears, but with my whole being. I am not straining to hear something dramatic. I am just present. And in that presence, I hear what I forgot I needed to hear. You are with me. You have not left. You still speak peace over me. You still call me by name, God. Thank you for not raising your voice just to compete with my chaos. Thank you for waiting instead, like a friend who stays beside you without needing to say a word. Thank you for reminding me that stillness is where your whisper comes alive. And when I finally made space, you filled it not with pressure, but with presence, not with shame, but with assurance, not with correction, but with comfort. I open myself now to hear more, not more noise, but more of you. What do you want me to know today? What do you want to remind me that I have forgotten? I sense you telling me that I am not behind, that I am not too late, that healing does not follow a clock, and growth does not look the same every season. I sense you whispering that my heart is still good, that my tears were not a sign of weakness, but an act of trust, that surrender was not failure, it was faith. I hear you say that I am not forgotten, that every quiet moment where I wondered if you saw me was known to you, that nothing I laid down was overlooked, that you are the keeper of my prayers, even the ones I never found the words to speak. I hear you calling me back, not to old ways, but to old truths, to trust, to wonder, to peace. Not the kind that comes from things going right, but the kind that rises when I remember you are near. Lord, help me stay sensitive to your voice, not just in sacred moments like this, but in the ordinary rhythms of my day. Let me hear you in the laughter of someone I love, in the quiet between tasks, in the wind through the trees. Let me recognize your prompting when I feel moved to kindness, or to pause, or to speak life instead of fear. Teach me again how to be led not by urgency, but by your spirit, how to move only when peace walks with me. So much of my life has been shaped by the loudest voice in the room, whether it was fear, doubt, expectation, or memory. But today, I want your whisper to be the one that guides me. I want it to cut through the noise, not with force, but with familiarity. I want to recognize it so deeply that when confusion comes, I know which voice to follow. Speak to the places in me that are still unsure. The wounds I forgot to name, the dreams I was too tired to pray for, the questions I stopped asking because I thought silence meant no. Breathe life into those places. Let your whisper bring back hope, not with big promises, but with small reassurances. I am here. I see you. I am not finished yet. I carry your words now like a letter written on my soul. I hold them close not because they are loud, but because they are true. I do not need more signs to believe you are with me. I do not need dramatic moments to know you care. I only need to listen like this, to quiet the rush, to still the fear, to make room for the gentle voice that never stopped speaking. And if tomorrow I forget again, if the noise returns, if the pressure builds, if my heart feels heavy once more, bring me back here, to this space, to this breath, to this whisper. Remind me that your voice does not disappear. It waits, and when I am ready to listen again, you will still be speaking. Lord, after hearing your voice again in the stillness, something inside me feels softer, but also stronger. The calm has cleared a space where I can begin to think differently. For so long, my thoughts have followed the same worn-out patterns, shaped by fear, by pain, by years of survival. But now I feel you inviting me to rebuild, not just to rest, not just to release, but to renew. You are teaching me to think with peace, to see through grace, to believe without needing to control. Father, I used to think my thoughts were just thoughts, random and fleeting. But now I understand that what I allow to live in my mind begins to shape everything else. The way I see the world, the way I speak to myself, the way I respond to others. I see how often I have rehearsed old worries instead of rehearsing your promises. I have repeated doubts until they felt like truth. I have accepted lies because they were familiar. But now that you have cleared the noise, I am ready for something better. I bring you my thought life, not just the obvious ones, but the ones that hide behind my habits, the beliefs I carry without even noticing, the scripts I repeat in silence, the assumptions I make without challenge. I surrender them here, not in shame, but with hope. I believe you can do something new, even in the way I think. I believe your spirit can transform me from the inside out. So start here, God. Start with the thoughts I think when I first wake up. Replace the dread with a sense of expectancy. Replace the anxious checklist with a quiet confidence that you will meet me in each moment. Teach me that I do not have to brace myself for the worst. I can begin each day by remembering I am loved, I am held, I am not alone. Transform the way I speak to myself. Too often, my inner voice is harsh, impatient, and critical. It echoes things I heard long ago, things that told me I was too much or never enough. But you do not speak to me like that. Your voice is kind, even when correcting. Your truth is firm, but never cruel. Let my inner voice begin to sound like yours. Let compassion replace condemnation. Let truth replace distortion. Let grace quiet the shame that has lingered too long. Renew the way I interpret what happens around me. I confess that I often assume the worst about situations, about people, even about myself. I jump to conclusions shaped by old wounds. I react before I pause. But I want to live from trust, not suspicion. I want to give others the benefit of the doubt. I want to see interruptions as invitations. I want to recognize that even detours can lead to grace. Lord, guard my mind when fear tries to creep in again. I know it will. I know my old patterns vanish overnight. But now I have a choice. I can pause. I can remember this moment. I can choose to think differently. I can bring every anxious thought captive and lay it before you. I can ask, is this true? Is this kind? Is this from you? And if it is not, I can let it go. I do not have to entertain every fear that knocks at my door. Let your word become the framework for my thinking, not just a verse I visit on hard days, but the foundation beneath everything. Let Scripture shape the way I see myself, the way I view others, the way I respond to the unknown. Let it remind me that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, that you are for me, not against me, that your plans are for good, even when I cannot yet see the full picture. God, I want my thoughts to become prayers. I want the background noise of my mind to be filled with quiet trust instead of loud panic. Let my imagination be a place where faith lives, not just fear. Let me dream again, not with control, but with hope. Let me picture a future where peace is possible, not because it is perfect, but because you are there. Teach me to meditate on what is lovely, what is pure, what is true, not in denial of pain, but in defiance of despair. Let beauty interrupt my bitterness. Let gratitude speak louder than scarcity. Let wonder replace cynicism. Every time I catch myself spiraling, remind me I have the authority to stop and choose again. I am not a prisoner to my old ways of thinking. You are renewing me, one thought at a time. Father, I believe that a renewed mind leads to a renewed life. That as my thoughts shift, my words will follow, my reactions will soften, my peace will deepen, and this transformation will ripple out into my relationships, into my work, into the quiet places where no one sees but you. This is not just about thinking positively. It is about aligning my mind with heaven, about making space for joy, about choosing trust even when certainty is out of reach. So I welcome the process, even when it is slow, even when I stumble. I will keep showing up. I will keep returning to this place of quiet renewal. I will keep letting your truth rewrite the story I have been telling myself. I know there is power in this exchange, that each time I choose trust over fear, truth over lies, love over shame, something holy is happening. I am being shaped from the inside, not by pressure, but by presence. And as I move forward, I ask for one simple thing. Let my thoughts be a safe place. Let them be a sanctuary where peace can dwell, where faith can grow, where grace can rest. Let my mind become a garden that reflects what you are planting in my soul. And when the old thoughts try to return, remind me who I am. Remind me who you are. Remind me that transformation is not a moment. It is a daily miracle. and I am living inside it now. Father, as you continue to renew my mind and reshape the way I see the present, I feel you gently leading me somewhere deeper back into the places I have avoided, back into the memories I tucked away, thinking that if I left them untouched long enough, they would eventually disappear. But they did not. They settled beneath the surface. They shaped how I see myself, how I respond, how I trust. And now I know that healing can come by looking away. It comes by letting you enter what I was too afraid to revisit. God, I am not here to relive my pain. I am here to redeem it. I am here to allow you to walk with me through the past, not to stir up shame or sorrow, but to bring peace where the wound once lived. I want to see those memories the way you do, not as places of failure or trauma, but as parts of my story you are not finished writing. So I open the door, slowly, but willingly. I think of moments when I was misunderstood, when I felt small in a room full of voices louder than mine. I remember words spoken over me that stuck like labels, shaping my identity in ways I did not realize. I bring those scenes to you now, one by one, not to replay them in bitterness, but to ask you to touch them with grace. I remember times I was left behind literally or emotionally, when someone who was supposed to stay chose to walk away, when someone who promised protection broke that trust. I carried those moments into adulthood, still believing they were somehow my fault, still thinking I had to earn love or prove my worth, or always be the one who never needed anything. But you never asked that of me. You are not the one who left. You are the one who stays. I bring to you the painful goodbyes, the sudden losses, the things I never got closure for. I bring the relationships that ended without explanation, the friends who drifted away, the moments that never came back. I let you hold the ache that I could never explain, to others the grief that did not come from death, but from something lost all the same. I no longer want to pretend those things did not matter. They did. They shaped me. But they do not get to define me. Lord, I invite you into the memories I was too ashamed to speak of, the ones I buried deep beneath strength and silence. You know them already. Nothing is hidden from you, but there is something healing in finally acknowledging them, not as secrets but as scars. Scars that speak of survival, scars that are no longer open wounds, scars that say, I have been hurt, but I am still here, and you are still with me. Help me release the guilt I have carried for things I could not control. Help me forgive myself for what I did not know back then, for the times I'd stayed silent when I should have spoken, for the trust I gave too freely, for the walls I built too high. I am learning to see that healing is not about forgetting. It is about no longer being ruled by what happened. It is about walking through those same doors and realizing I can breathe now. Show me how to see those moments through your eyes, not through the lens of what I lost, but what you preserved, not through the voice of regret, but through the promise of redemption. Remind me that every painful chapter is a place you can still speak into, that no part of my story is wasted in your hands. And Lord, help me release the bitterness, not because what was done to me was okay, not because the pain was not real, but because I do not want to carry it anymore. Bitterness is too heavy. Resentment poisons the very peace I have been praying for. I want to be free not just from what happened, but from the hold it has had on my heart. I want to move forward without dragging the past behind me like a shadow. So I forgive not because it was easy, but because I need to breathe. I forgive those who did not see me. I forgive those who hurt me out of their own brokenness. I forgive myself for all the ways I have blamed myself in silence. I trust you to handle justice. I trust you to restore what was taken. I let go not because they deserve it, but because I am choosing freedom over pain. Father, I ask that you reframe my memory. Let the moments that once brought sorrow now speak of strength. Let the memories that used to trigger tears become reminders of your faithfulness. Let me testify, not just of the pain, but of the presence that never left me. Let me say with quiet confidence, I have walked through fire, and I have not been consumed. There are still places that feel tender. I admit that some memories still sting. Some questions remain unanswered, but even in those gaps, I sense your nearness. I feel your comfort wrapping around what still feels raw. I am not who I was back then, and neither are those moments. They have been touched by your grace, God. I thank you for the healing that happens slowly, layer by layer, like morning light creeping into a dark room. Thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for not scolding me for holding on too long. Thank you for gently inviting me to release what no longer serves me, and to receive what I did not know was still possible peace. Where pain used to live, let that peace take root in me. Let it change the way I speak about my story. Let it give me compassion for others who carry hidden wounds. Let it give me courage to walk forward without fear that the past will rise again to define me. I am no longer the person who was left. I am no longer the person who was silenced. I am no longer the person who had to earn love. I am yours. And as I carry that truth, I walk with a new kind of freedom. Not the kind that forgets what was, but the kind that stands on what is. I am healed. I am seen. I am known. I am whole. Not because the past changed, because you changed how I live within it. You are the God who steps into memory and brings peace. You are the God who turns wounds into wisdom, and now I carry that peace with me, not just in my present, but even in the places I once feared to go. Father, carrying the peace you have placed within me, I begin to sense how this calm is meant to move with me, not remain behind in quiet moments alone. What you have healed in my memory and renewed in my mind is not fragile. It is not something that shatters at the first sign of difficulty. It is meant to walk with me into the ordinary hours of this day, into conversations, decisions, responsibilities, and unexpected turns. I am learning that peace is not a feeling that comes and goes, but a covering I can choose to wear. Lord, I know the world I am about to step into will not be silent. There will be demands on my attention, voices competing for my energy, situations that test my patience and stir old habits. But I do not walk into those moments unprotected. You have given me peace not as an escape, but as a guard, a steady presence that watches over my heart and mind when pressure rises. I receive that peace now, not as something fragile, but as something strong. I imagine this peace settling over me like a shield. Not heavy, not restrictive, but firm and sure. It does not block me from life. It allows me to engage without fear. It reminds me that I do not need to react to everything immediately. I can pause. I can breathe. I can choose trust before tension takes hold. This peace stands between my heart and the chaos that tries to rush in. Father, teach me how to walk in this trust moment by moment. When I face decisions and feel uncertain, remind me that I am not alone in choosing. When I encounter conflict, help me respond with calm instead of defense. When my schedule feels full and my energy feels low, remind me that rest is not weakness and boundaries are wisdom. I do not need to prove myself today. I only need to remain connected to you. I commit my thoughts to you as I move through this day. When worry tries to return, I will not wrestle with it. I will return to what you have already shown me. I will remember the release, the stillness, the whisper, the renewal, the healing. I will let peace interrupt the spiral before it takes root. I will trust that you are present even when I feel stretched. Lord, help me practice this peace in real time, in the middle of conversations where emotions run high, in moments when plans change unexpectedly, in waiting rooms, traffic, deadlines, and delays. Let peace be my first response, not my last resort. Let it guide my words, soften my tone, and steady my actions. Let others sense something different in me, not because I am perfect, but because I am anchored. I also bring before you the people I will encounter today. Some are carrying burdens of their own. Some may speak from pain rather than intention. Give me eyes to see beyond behavior and hearts to respond with compassion. Let my peace become a safe space for others, not a wall that keeps them out. I want to carry what you have given me with humility and grace. God, when fatigue sets in later today, remind me that peace does not disappear when I am tired. When frustration rises, remind me that calm is still available. When fear whispers that I am falling behind, remind me that I am exactly where you can meet me. I do not need to rush ahead to feel secure. I do not need to look back to feel validated. I am held right here. I place my work in your hands. I place my responsibilities in your care. I place my relationships under your guidance. I trust you to direct my steps and adjust my pace. I trust you to open doors that need to be opened and close ones that would drain my spirit. I trust you to guard my heart when things do not go as planned. Father, I recognize that peace is something I will choose again and again. It is not automatic. It is intentional. And when I forget, when I slip back into old patterns, I will not condemn myself. I will simply return. I will return to this truth. I will return to this trust. I will return to you. Peace is not fragile because you sustain it. As I walk forward, let this peace become my posture. Let it influence how I listen, how I speak, how I move. Let it remind me that I do not need to fight for control. I can rest in your guidance. I can walk steadily. Even when the path is unclear, I can sleep tonight knowing I did not carry today alone. I step into this day covered, not by my own strength, but by the peace you provide. I am not bracing for impact. I am moving with trust. I am not guarding myself with fear. I am shielded by confidence in you. And as I go, I carry this peace not as something borrowed, but as something planted deep within me, ready to rise whenever I need it. God, I step into this final space of prayer with a heart that feels different than when I first came. I remember how this all began with weight in my chest, silence in my soul, and burdens I could not name. I remember the ache of not knowing how to let go, the hesitation in speaking pain aloud, the way fear had woven itself into my thoughts like an unwelcome thread. And now, somehow, here I am lighter, clearer, steadier, not because life has suddenly become easy, but because you have met me in every part of it. Father, you have walked me from heaviness into healing, not by taking me out of my reality, but by transforming how I walk within it. Where there was chaos, you gave calm. Where there was confusion, you whispered clarity. Where there were shadows, you shined a quiet, gentle light. You did not ask me to pretend or perform. You simply invited me to be present, and you were already waiting in that space. I am not the same person who began this prayer, and I do not want to be. Something has shifted not just in emotion, but in posture. I have gone from clenching my fists to opening my hands, from holding it all together to allowing myself to be held, from survival mode to a place of sacred surrender. This is not the kind of peace that only lasts for a few hours. This is the kind that takes root and rises again with each breath. Lord, I do not want to leave this space and forget what you have done. I do not want this to be a beautiful moment that fades in the noise of the day. So I ask for something more than a feeling. I ask for rhythm. Let what was built here become the foundation I carry into the ordinary. Let peace be the undercurrent of my mornings. Let gratitude be the default of my thoughts. Let surrender be my strength, not my last resort. Thank you for the parts of me that were finally able to speak. Thank you for the memories that were gently touched by grace. Thank you for the silence that became sacred instead of lonely. Thank you for reminding me that even when I feel small, I am never unseen. You noticed every whisper, every pause, every shift in my heart. You were present not just as a listener, but as a healer. I now rise into the day, not trying to earn peace, but clothed in it. I do not walk forward with perfection, with purpose. I do not pretend that I will never struggle again, but I now carry tools I did not have before, truths that are stronger than fear, and quiet confidence that does not depend on circumstances. I carry the echo of your voice, the softness of your comfort, the steadiness of your love. As I go, let me walk with intention. Let me speak gently, listen fully, and love freely. Let me be present in conversations instead of distracted by internal noise. Let me give without fear of lack, rest without guilt, and trust without demanding guarantees. Let me return, again and again, to the stillness you have shown me. I will not try to recreate this exact moment, but I will remember that this peace is always available because you are always near. God, Remind me throughout the day that I do not have to return to old patterns. When anxiety tries to knock, I can answer with assurance. When shame tries to whisper, I can speak truth back to it. When I feel the weight building again, I know what to do. I know how to lay it down. I know how to come back to you, not with eloquence, but with honesty. You have shown me that prayer is not just what I do, it is how I live. I pray now not just for myself, but for those who are walking through their own dark mornings, for those waking up with burdens that feel unbearable, for those whose tears have not found language yet. Let them find this same peace. Let them know that they are not alone. Let their hearts find a stillness they did not know was possible. Use me, if you will, to carry that peace to others, not by preaching, but by simply being a living echo of what you have done in me. To the one who has prayed this entire journey with me, thank you for staying. Thank you for choosing to sit in the stillness, to lean into the tension, to breathe through the letting go. What you have done is holy, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. You showed up to your own heart. You showed up to God, and that alone is brave. I want you to know this is not the end. This is the beginning of a deeper rhythm, one that you can return to again and again, one that grows stronger with each step, one that does not rely on perfection, only presence. What started as pain has become prayer. What began with weight has been rewritten with peace. And you, dear soul, are more free than you realize. Let the rest of your day unfold with gentleness. Let grace carry you where strength runs low. Let trust be the soil beneath your choices. And when the world grows loud again, remember the quiet that still lives inside you. It is not gone. It is not far. It is with you. Thank you for walking this path with me. If this prayer has touched something deep in you, I invite you to share your heart in the comments below. Share your reflections, your own prayers, or what part of this journey met you where you needed it most. Your story may be the reminder someone else needs today. If you would like to stay rooted in this kind of peace and continue walking in daily trust, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs it, and return each morning for a fresh breath of grace. Let this be more than a moment. Let it become a way of being. And now, as the light begins to stretch across the earth and the world stirs awake, may you feel the warmth of a new beginning, like a breeze that brushes your skin just as the sun rises, like water that runs gently over stone. You are being renewed quietly, steadily, without force. Let that be enough for today.